Hi there, this is Mike Cross again with the third part of our series, Freud Made Easy, helping you to understand good old Sigmund Freud a little bit better. And what I'd like to deal with right now is defense mechanisms, or otherwise known as ego defense mechanisms, which is basically, if we remember from the first two parts about Freud, the subconscious mind is just reeling with unbridled libido or life energy, with thoughts of things that maybe aren't socially acceptable, or instinctive drives, or really just bad memories. And so how does your mind, which is very advanced, it's a very advanced computer system, way more advanced than any computer system, how does it deal with all of this stuff and not go crazy? Well, Freud said we have what's known as defense mechanisms. And since I've got the little kitty here, let's deal with displacement. Now, displacement is the idea that you project or put something onto something else and give it another meaning. Maybe to hide some sort of, or mask some sort of desire you might have. Now, our little kitty cat here. I'm sure there may be some people out there, thinking about crazy cat ladies. Well, let's explain that concept real quick. But first, I better let the cat say bye-bye. Say bye. See you later. And I hand the cat over. Very good. Now, the thing is that with displacement, maybe you've got a woman who's 45, 50, 55 years old, and her kids have moved out and gone on with their life. Or maybe you have a situation in which she never was able to have children. Well, she can feel those maternal instincts satisfied by having a lot of cats. Because the cats to her, in her subconscious mind, will represent those children she never had. And so when you see a woman who down the street who has 7 or 8 cats and she has them all named and everything, and talks about them like her kids, well, in her subconscious mind, she actually thinks of those cats as her children. And this helps her to feel more at ease, whereas if she didn't have those, and maybe she never had children, well, she might feel bad about her life. But this helps her to feel good. Now, there's some others that go out there. Now, one of the big ones, of course, is repression. Now, repression is basically just forgetting something, pushing it down. Now, the thing is, Freud recognized, in our brains we have synapses and so forth, and everything gets stored. It's like your computer hard drive. You never get rid of it. It's like the NSA, they have a record of everything you do. Well, your computer has a record of everything you do. So, the thing is, how do you deal with that? Well, you repress it. You find ways to push it down. Now, the thing is, with repression, Freud mentioned that the more you repress memories, instincts, taboo desires, well, fetishes, it's going to come out in other things, and that's going to create mental illness. It's going to create depression and so forth. So you have to have a balance. If you repress things too much, it comes out in other ways. So the thing is, that's the very basics of repression. Just keep it down there and don't think about it. Now, of course, in dreams it comes out, and that's why Freud thought dreams, and he dabbled a little bit in hypnosis. That's a way to find out what the person's really thinking down in their subconscious. Now, maybe the most important thing is sublimation. Freud believed all those libidinal urges, if they came out, it would be like a Hobbesian nightmare, or something like everyone would be behaving like Clockwork Orange, or Lord of the Flies, or something like that. So sublimation is when you push all those energies into something good. So if you're like, if you're a violent person, maybe you join the military or become a policeman or become a boxer. If you have drives that, sexual drives that you can't really, you want to come to terms with, maybe you become a sculptor, a sculptress, or a photographer, and then it's socially acceptable to be taking pictures and doing art and stuff, even if it involves nudity and even sexual themes. So sublimation basically just means taking these drives and putting them into something else. I remember hearing something at a church talk one time where someone was saying, if you feel these sinful urges to do this or this or this, go out and go for a long run, or take up a hobby that's so consuming that you don't have time to think about these things. That's sublimation. Okay? And basically Freud felt that's what society is based on, is sublimation. Because otherwise everyone would be just going crazy if they weren't directing these drives into things that were socially acceptable. And that's what keeps civilization going. Two more as I want to talk to, just to give an idea of how this whole ego defense mechanism works, is one is projection. And now that makes you feel good. You find someone that's doing something similar to what you want to do or you do, and hopefully a little bit worse than you, and then you condemn them for it. So if you see if you have the urge to, let's say, smoke a cigarette, and you smoke and you know it's bad for you, but then you see someone you smoke a half a pack a day, and you see someone else that smokes 3 packs a day, you'll point to them and say, I don't know how they can't control themselves. They're always smoking. Can't they control themselves? Or if you have a weight problem, and you kind of bulging around the hips there and everything, it's almost easier for you, instead of exercising, to point out all the other people out there. You go to your local big box store, or just the mall, or Walmart, or the grocery store, or whatever, and you see people that are bigger than you, and then you say, I cannot believe they can't control themselves. Look at that woman, look at that man. I mean, my God, how could they do that? Well, that's projection. You're feeling something, but you know that you're projecting to a certain degree. You know you've got a problem. The most interesting, and it's the last one I'm going to deal with, is reaction formation. Now, this is where you have those subconscious urges that you want to do something. Like maybe you're a vegan and animal rights lover and stuff, but deep down you really desire to go out on the hunt. You would like to go out there with a bow and arrow and just kill Bambi or something, and just eat its heart out or something. Well, instead, what you might do when you have reaction formation is you go and throw blood on someone who's got a fur coat, and you start screaming obscenities at them and really having a hard time with that. Or you go out and disrupt hunters, set off fireworks and be really righteous about, like, oh yeah, I'm saving the animals. But at the same time, maybe what it is you'd like to be out there doing it, but you hide it. You successfully hide what you'd really like to do, but you're kind of not aware of it. And so it's like maybe you see a peace protest where all of a sudden the peace protesters are throwing rocks and Molotov cocktails at the police or people that counter-protest them. Well, and if you ask them, why are you doing this? This looks hypocritical. And they'll say, well, because they support war. They're terrible people. And you're like, but you're being violent yourself. But it's for peace. Well, that's reaction formation. And you see, a lot of times things just don't make sense when you see people behaving a certain way or feeling a certain way. But if you understand the Freudian defense mechanisms, there's a few more there, but if you just look up Freudian defense mechanisms, you'll get a better understanding as to why people behave in seemingly contradictory ways or unusual ways. You'll have a better idea of why they are that way. Anyway, take care of